Government tradition states that every AA group ought to be fully self-supporting, declining outside contributions. We will now pass the basket. This is a weekly literature or step meeting. Our format is as follows. A speaker is asked to talk for no longer than 30 minutes. He or she spends 15 minutes on qualifying themselves and then 15 minutes on either a composition from the Big Book or the Step of the Week, followed by group shares, discussion, or questions until 7 p.m. We then end the meeting with the Lord's Prayer, the Serenity Prayer, whatever the speaker chooses. You can find our past weekly meetings on our YouTube page called the Stay Alive Literature and Step Group Meeting. You can also find information about our upcoming meetings and other group stuff on the Doylestown Recovery Group Facebook page. Do not forget to smash the like button, subscribe, and share. This brings us to the portion of the meeting, January 26, 2026 in Doylestown, Pennsylvania, on Monday night, 6 p.m., the Stay Alive Literature and Step Group meeting at St. Paul's Lutheran Church. Tonight's speaker is Graham, and he's going to be sharing his experience, strength, and hope on Step 3. Let's give him a warm welcome.
Thank you. My name's Graham. I'm an alcoholic.
Hi, Graham.
Hi, everybody. I will be done. I was asked to chair this meeting and find a speaker, so I did. And he lives in Langhorne, and he's not going to make it. He tried driving. I think, no, actually, when Gary first asked me, he asked me to chair and Jackie to speak, my wife, because she used to come here more before we had a baby. So that was one down. And then Tom, who's going to come, he's gone, so it's just down to me. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. It could have been better. Just as brief qualifications, steps one and two before you get to 3, I guess. I used to drink a lot. There you go. That's it, really. I mean, yeah, I couldn't. So when I went to my first meeting, first meeting at Pendel Serenity in Pendel, I heard a guy say, "I'm an alcoholic because once I start, I can't stop, and I can't stop starting." And I was like, dang. I was like done right there. I was like, that's it. That's step 1. He couldn't have said it. Larry Allen, amazing guy. He comes up to me after the meeting. He's like, this amazing way of life. It's incredible. I'm like, back up. Oh, you're coming at me hot. I am freaking out right now. But yeah, that's all step 1 was. It's a simple conclusion for me. I drank, once I started, I didn't stop. I don't understand that. I don't get that. I would pregame, right? And I'd be like, I'll just have a couple now because I got to drink now before I go out. And I couldn't turn it off once I started. And if under certain circumstances, like I have a couple ex-wives, if one of them perhaps would be like, no, you're not, that's it, you're cut off. I was not a happy person for the rest of the night. I was the biggest baby in the room, angry and looking to sneak drinks wherever I could. I didn't know it was alcoholism. I didn't know what it was. I didn't care what it was. I just knew I liked drinking and I was going to keep drinking. The part where I couldn't stop starting, that was the real kicker, because I could stop for a little while. Like if I had the flu, I'd be good for like 4 days, right? And I'd be like, hey, look, see, I'm not an alcoholic. I had the flu, right? And then I'd go and I'd pick up one, and next thing you know, I'm drinking every day as much as I can. I didn't drink a lot at the end. I drank more in the morning, but I didn't drink that. I really didn't. And I don't drink in the morning. I'm not an alcoholic. I have a job. I'm not an alcoholic. I'm not an alcoholic. But once I started, I couldn't stop, and I couldn't stop starting. So I just keep starting every once in a while. If I wanted to put it down, I couldn't put it down completely. And I never had that relationship with any other, fluid, ever. I never had a glass of milk and said, you know what we need, Mike? We got to go get a cow. And we're gonna tear the town down. But I was like gonna brew my own beer. I was sure I was gonna do that. Or buy a bar. That's like my dream. I was gonna buy and run a bar. Like a genius. Yeah, that would have gone over well. So that's how I drank. And I mean, you know how it ends up. Eventually, it had me every day, all day, and I just couldn't stop. And I was trying to some degree, and I started having these panic attacks, these terrible, if you ever had a panic attack, you know that you think you're going to die. You're sure. It's like 100% certainty that you're going to die 30 seconds from now. Any second right now, I'm dead. So I'm having this panic attack, and I go to Doylestown Hospital, and they take me in. They bring me into the Oak Room. I'm like, I need IVs. Give me medication. And this guy comes in all smug, right? And I wasn't into many doctors' opinions at the time. And this guy says, here's how much do you drink? Because he probably smelled it on me. I came in off a binge, like a 3-4 day binge. And it was, early morning. I'd been going shopping, and I had this huge panic attack. I was like, what's that got to do with anything? Well, long story short, in order to get the meds, right, that I really wanted, I had to go see this therapist. So I started going to see this therapist, and she used to put in my head, you can just go sit in the back of the room. You don't have to say anything. Just go to those meetings. Just sit in the back. Don't say anything. Just listen. And that's all she'd say. And then she would sit back, just eat Cheetos, and let me go. And I would just be like, rah, 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 I pay you to like me. Rah. All resentful and kind of crazy. But that was in my head, her voice. The morning my second ex-wife said, you got to do something about your drinking. And something honest came out of my mouth for the first time. I said, she said, you got to quit drinking. You got to control your drinking. That's what she said. And I was like, I don't think I can. Mm-hmm. I don't know where that came from. I must have been at some kind of bottom of some sort. And I remembered my therapist being like, you can go to those meetings, just sit in the back. And I was like, you know what? I'll go to first meeting tomorrow. Well, I hear these AA things, whatever. I'll go to the first meeting tomorrow. I get on the interwebs and I pull up not Pendel. It was first one I pulled up was Langhorne at 6 a.m. I go to the second meeting tomorrow. That's crazy. Who's going 6 a.m. meeting? So I went to the 12 noon at Pendel. Saw Larry there. He was like, once I start, I can't stop, and I can't stop starting. And I was like convicted, But it wasn't just that. It was also all the feelings. People talking about, and the stuff y'all did. Like, you're saying that stuff out loud. And I'm like, you're saying that out loud. That's crazy. I wouldn't repeat that to anybody. And I'm freaking out a little bit. But I knew by the way you talked, I knew you had the story. I knew you knew. I knew you knew the game. And that was the hook. That's what I needed, And AA is smart. They know that we're self-centered. They know I'm self-centered and egocentric. So when you said I was the most important person in the room, I was like, finally, right? It's about time you recognize. But that's very clever how it can use that self-centeredness. And I'm still extremely self-centered. Like when Tom canceled, I was like, I'll just get a different speaker. And you're like, you're going to speak. I was like, yeah. I'll speak. Ridiculous. I want to hear me. Doesn't everybody? I gotta live with this thing. You know what it's like. It just never stops. And that's what I love about AA. I can come here and be inside out and just let it out, right? I can be me for once for like 30 seconds. So yeah. I start going to the meetings. I'm looking at the things on the wall. And step one, okay, yeah, I can't drink. I get it. No, that's not really it. But step two is, and then I read down a little bit. There's this God word. I'm like, I get around that somehow. And who was supposed to speak tonight? Tom. He has a really strong message, and he talks about the steps, right? So I still play out. I have a gig. Even this month I've got a gig. And I was playing back then a lot in pubs. That's where you play. And I was going into places that someone with, 3 weeks of sobriety probably shouldn't be going into to work, right? And I'm white knuckling it, freaking out. And I had the phone list. I'd run outside and be like, I don't want to drink. They're like, great, where are you? I'm at a bar. Get out of there, right? I'm like, I'm working. They were great about it. But I heard clearly 2 messages as I was sitting there, because I was looking for what I wanted to hear. And it was, you can still play music. You're still that's what I wanted to hear. At some point, I wanted some sort of permission slip. I wanted something. And it was nefarious. I'm sure my brain wanted me to get close to the alcohol to some degree. But there was a message that said, that if you're there for a good reason, and you're placed in a position of neutrality, and you've had a spiritual awakening, and you're working these steps, you can be around it if you respect it in that way. And I heard this guy saying that, and he was talking about doing these steps, and they'd have some sort of change inside me that would somehow allow me to be free and look at it and not be like, oh, I must drink it. And it would remove that obsession somehow. I was like, whatever. I pulled him aside after the meeting. I was like, Tom, dude, how long do these steps take? I got a gig on Friday. Can we do that? And he lit up. Like, I'll tell you, he's like, yes, you want to do this? Good. We did 1, 2, and 3 right there in the lobby of Pendel. He took me through the conclusions of 1, 2, and 3. It doesn't mean I finished them. You know, I have a real crappy memory. I did them again this morning. Don't worry. And I'm trying to do them now. And then, yeah. So I think in that moment, there was kind of like a step 2 kind of feeling. And like I knew that the people talking, you had come to believe in some higher power that could restore you to sanity. And I didn't understand what sanity was, or insanity for that matter. I had no clue what that meant. I thought it was, I'm going to streak the campus in a diaper, you know, like crazy running down the street and the SWAT teams are after me. And that's not it at all. It's alcoholic insanity is, I could have a million good reasons to not drink on this hand, right? A million, right? I'm going to drive drunk. I know that. I could kill somebody. I could kill myself. I could lose my wife again. A million good reasons to not drink. Oh, once I start, I don't stop. A million good reasons to not drink again. And then I have one reason to drink. Ready? It's Thursday. That's insane. That's absolutely insane. That one stupid little reason, and I'll go, yeah, it's Thursday. I always drink on Thursdays though, and I'll just have one, and then the lies start, and the lies and the brain start. So once I figured that was the kind of insanity we're talking about, in the moment of choice, in that moment where I'm going to drink or not to drink, right? When I'm at that crossroads, I'm too crazy to not drink. I have a subtle kind of insanity that says, no, you're going to drink. We'll come up with lots of reasons. And I'm up against a chess master up here in my skull, not an actual chess. That would be, useful. But in alcoholism, it's like I will get alcohol into the body somehow. I will figure it out. So, and that makes me powerless. That is absolute powerlessness because I live with it. I live with that thinker up there right now. It's doing it right now as we speak. It's chattering and ta. What are we talking? Do we sound right? Does this sound, am I carrying the message? This sounds crazy. Right? So I'm in AA. I'm doing the AA waltz, which is 1, 2, 3, right? 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, because nobody can tell that I'm really not doing step 3. Because if I was doing step 3, I would launch on a course of vigorous action and be doing step 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9, right? Because then I would have really turned my will and my life over to God. But I didn't. I just said I did. See, I'm just doing 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. I'm good. Until I was face to face with a beer. Stupidest thing. I pull into this place. And a guy comes over with a little paper cup, the bartender. He's like, oh, we just got this down from Vermont. It's this micro brew, comes down from a St. Bernard off the mountain. It's amazing. You got to drink it. It's the best. And he puts a Dixie cup full of beer in front of me and walks away. And it is exactly like they say in the big book. It was exactly like they say. There was a mental blank spot because I do not remember my hand going from wherever it was to here. It was right there, ready to grab it. And that's when it broke. It broke. And something else came in. Something was like clear. Oh, whoa, where am I? My hand was going, and I woke up for a second. Just enough time. That's all I needed was that millisecond. And my fantastical brain just starts freaking out. It's like, what are you doing? Drink it. Hurry up. Drink it quick. Don't worry. You're going to look like an idiot. He went through the St. Bernard. He brought it down the mountain. Drink it. You're going to look like an idiot. Nobody will know. And then another voice, I swear to God, something else said, I'll know. And then I just sat back with the chills. I had a 24-hour coin. I took it out, and on the back it says, to thine own self be true. Put it back in my pocket. And on the way home, called my sponsor. He said, well, you didn't drink. That's good. He said, you want to do the rest of these steps? And I did. I started getting to work on the 4th step because I felt the powerlessness. I felt like Pinocchio. I saw the strings. Some lower power had me and was going to drink. There was no way around it. And I was powerless against that. That's one form of the powerlessness. The other form, of course, once I poured in my body, I just keep pouring. I just keep going and going and going until I run out or I pass out. And then if I run out, I go get more. So step 3 is when I finally got there and I hit that point right there, I started to like really listen to the prayer. They used to call Tom, who was supposed to speak tonight, third step Tom, for a while, because he photocopied the third step prayer and had these stacks of photocopies that he would keep in the trunk of his car. And all the newcomers, he'd bring them out and go, let me give you something. Come here, over here. And you go over to the trunk of his car and you're like, what the fuck? What are you doing? You keep your distance a little bit and you take out the third step prayer. And I was reading it, I was doing it, but I wasn't really listening to it. It wasn't like processing. It was going in, I'm sure, to some degree. But this woke me up. This event really woke me up. And I really started looking at the third step prayer. And I started to kind of ingest it a little bit more. I'm sure you all know the prayer. God, I offer myself to thee to build me and do with me as thou will. God, I didn't even know what a God was. I'm just going to say it. I'm just going to do what you tell me to do at this point. Because that scared me. The ex-wife telling me she was going to leave didn't scare me like that. That was a shot to the soul. That was a shot to the ego. That was a shot to everything. And I collapsed, which was good. That's what I needed. I needed a kind of egoic collapse. So here I am, 6 months sober, right in my 4th step, but also doing the 3rd step prayer and really kind of looking into it. And I don't know what a God is at this point. And they were like, don't worry. Just doesn't matter what you call it, just call it. So that's a good one. I like that. And it was just a matter of taking the action of prayer. And it wasn't a matter of belief or faith yet, anything like that. It was just take the action, just like the action of just go to the meeting. So I was praying it. And this God, I offer myself. What does that mean? Me, myself, my whole thing to God. What is this self? What is me, right? And that's what I was finding out doing the 4th step. And I would find out more and more later on. But I don't know. I heard a lot of different things on the 3rd step, and how difficult it can be, how simple it can be, making a decision, all that stuff. I think in real simplistic terms, there's only 2 prayers, right? There's my will be done or thy will be done. That's really it. And on any given day, you're about a good 80 to 85% chance of catching me doing the my will be done prayer, which is, screaming at the red light, cursing at the alarm, kicking something. I get very irritable. Still, I'm so human. Please, there are no saints, right? We're not saints. And I find that when I am in a better state of practicing, which I am not in, by the way, there is more peace. There's some semblance of peace. I find that the waves, the ups and downs of life, just kind of go like this. I never get like this flat zen. I'm never like enlightened. I never get that. I don't know what that is. I think it's amazing. I think some people actually do. I think it's beautiful, and it's something. It's kind of like a target to go for. But for me, I've always been a kind of up and down person, and I've always hoped that it would kind of just manage like in here, just not this anymore, because this was my whole life. And I think recently, especially the last couple of years, I've been relatively disconnected from AA, from God, from myself. Just the 3 major relationships in life, right? That's all. That's all we have is me, God, and myself, and you guys. Which, by the way, is steps 4 and 5. That's me. 6 and 7 is God, and 8 and 9 is you. It repairs all those relationships, which is really kind of cool. But there's been a kind of detachment since COVID. I got online, I did a lot of online meetings. I ran a big book study for a while. Came back to live meetings for a little bit, stuck my toe in, but the habit of staying home starts to really take effect, starts to really like hold me back. I have a career where I talk and listen to people, which exhausts me, burns me out. And I find it very, very difficult sometimes to sit in a meeting and get through the whole hour. It's not an excuse. That's a bad reason, is what that is. But I'm tired, basically. getting older, have a 9-month-old. That's difficult. And all of it, all the complaints, everything I complain about, or I think I'm complaining about, is being filtered through complaints. All of it is a gift. All of it's incredible. This whole thing is amazing. Even my crappy attitude sometimes, and me being a turd, is okay. This is one of the beauties of I think of a kind of spiritual awakening, is that it's okay to be myself. I don't have to. I can't carry anybody else's message. I can't. There's this saying, when you get to heaven, God's not going to ask you, why weren't you more like Jesus? He's going to ask you, why weren't you more like Graham? And it's kind of like an embracing of me, and this is just what I am right now. It's when I fight myself, and I start to get that increases the irritation, and then I start to fight the world, and then I start to fight God, and it usually goes in that order. I start fighting with myself and internally to some degree, then I start fighting with you guys and the Facebook, and then I start fighting with the big guy upstairs. I'm like, why? Well, it's because I kept praying that same prayer, my will be done. And that's not how it works. It's always thy will be done. It's not any single person's will at all. It's always God's will being done. I heard somebody way wiser than me once say, I asked God what his will was for me, and he said, this is it. This is it. You're it. This is it. This right here. This is God's will. There's no like, the brain goes, but wait, no, there's some magical meaning to life, and there's a thing. No, this is it. You're awake and alive, and you're experiencing this on a rock falling around a fireball right now, talking about being on a rock falling around a fireball. Wow. And I take that for granted and think a red light's going to make my day bad is ridiculous. I find it hilarious now. I laugh at. I'm the most ridiculous person I know. I find myself laughing at myself constantly all day long, like a fool, and I'm totally cool with it. I'm okay with it, and as long as I'm not insulting anybody too much or hurting anybody, and if I do, when I hurt somebody, I try to make amends as promptly as possible. The other day I was really short with Jackie. I felt terrible about it, and the amends actually came pretty quick in that case. That was a good one. And then I was short with somebody at work a few months ago, and that amends I should probably still do. See? It's all relative. I don't live with that person. It's terrible. Work your program, not mine, trust me. But I try. I do. I try to stay connected. I think God is far more mysterious than people give him credit for. I think God is something else. I don't know what God is still to this day. I have no clue. I've been in AA over 20 years. I've been praying and meditating a long time, and I have no clue. I have absolutely no idea. And apparently God wants it that way. Because if he didn't, his will would be to come down and be like, hi, look at me. The best I get out of turning my will and my life over is peace. The first thing I notice is that I get some kind of peace. And one of the things in the 12 and 12, and I'll close, is that idea of I don't have any power. Like my whole life, I have no control over when I eat food. I'm not making the metabolism go and all that stuff. When the heart is pounding blood through my body, I have no control over that. I have to just be like, hey, heart, thy will be done, right? Hey, stomach, thy will be done, right? Mm-hmm. All these body processes that are going on all the time, my nervous system, all this stuff going on right here, thy will be done, or I'm dead. If I had to remember to breathe, I'd forget. I know I would. If that was a requirement of being alive, I'd be done. I'd totally forget. So that really helped me in the beginning, was that the body itself was a higher power. Silence. Yeah, thanks. I'm good.
You good?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks.
We have come to the part of the meeting we will open to the floor for shares, discussions, and questions. Please limit your shares to 3 minutes. We can actually go a little longer because this is a smaller group tonight. Your conversation, keep your conversation to the literature or step shared by tonight's speaker. If you feel like drinking or if you had a drink today, please see me or someone after the meeting. Now I would like to open the meeting.